And then life goes on, and Adam and Eve have Cain. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, remember? But the ground is cursed. He's a tiller of the curse. He's tilling the curse. And then Abel. And Abel is a keeper of the sheep. Now we must remember where in the Apocrypha it speaks to all of these things having come to pass. And God saying all that I just explained to you. Chapter 31, second book of Enoch, verse 5. And he understand his condemnation and sin, which he had sinned before. Therefore he conceived a thought against Adam. In such form, he entered and seduced Eve, but did not touch Adam. I just told you, he came upon Eve as if he was her. He came upon Eve as if he was Adam, the serpent, Satan. But I curse ignorance. But what I had blessed previously, those I did not curse. I did not curse man. Adam is not cursed, nor the earth, nor other creatures, but man's evil fruit and his works. So when we see here in the Bible where scripture is saying that God cursed the ground, what we are finding is that the earth is not cursed. The fruit is cursed. So when we see Cain coming forward, who is a tiller of the ground, he's tilling the curse. All the fruit that comes forth from the curse, from the ground, from the curse, from the point that Adam and Eve sinned onward, is cursed. Yet all of the animals are not. This is what made it such a discrepancy with Cain and Abel. Abel's offering was a righteous offering. Yet Cain's offering was birthed in unrighteousness. And this is what made it second best. Cain himself would be the offspring of this interaction that Eve would have with this entity in the garden. So now you've introduced a situation into the world, the Eve. This goes back to what I said about changing the will. Eve's action would give birth to a reaction that she would never be able to see. She would never be able to forecast out how this thing is going. This one decision in changing the will of God will flower out. She sees it as nothing but a situation that she could just partake of and it will not affect anything. Had Eve known that this situation would multiply in such a big way, she would have never done it. But ain't that how these things go? Eve would, in changing the dynamic, create a snowball effect. And what will be birthed out of her will be Cain. And he will be brought into a world. He would inherit the curse. He would inherit the curse. And they would continuously give birth, and there would be a distinction between Cain and Abel. And Cain would carry the burden of this distinction. altering the way he sees himself in the world against Abel, because he knows what has happened before. He has to till the ground while Abel keeps the sheep. Abel is not affected by the curse as Cain is. He sees himself less than, secondary. Resentment festers, something that never was paramount on this planet. And now, little things become big things. He's sensitive, easily offended, because he knows a truth that's beyond the surface level. Anybody looking at him at the surface level would think, okay, he's just angry all the time and his temperament. No, he knows the truth. The spirit of his mother's activity haunts him, and he probably doesn't have any way of really communicating it. He's born into it. And he's slow. Out of a small argument, disagreement over something natural, animals in the field, God stuff, all God stuff. You take something that should have been easily worked out and you make it monumental. And he slays his brother Abel. And we all know the story of Cain and Abel and how Abel's blood cries out from the ground. And how Cain would be cursed. He would have a